Good morning and happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Employer Highlight Series hosted by the Ohioans Jobs Columbus Franklin County Job Center. My name is Scott Johnson. I'm the Job Center operator. And if this is your first event, welcome. The purpose of our Employer Highlight Series is to really help everyone within the community learn about great Columbus and Franklin County employers. And so today we are excited to have American Nitrile with us, and Kurt Williams will be representing them as their Senior Vice President of Operations. Kurt, welcome to our Employer Highlight Series.
Thanks. Glad to be here, Scott.
Awesome. Why don't you take a couple of minutes and tell everybody about yourself and a little about your role, and then we'll get into the discussion about American Nitrile.
Sure. Like I said, my name is Kurt Williams, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Operations here at American Nitrile. American Nitrile is a brand new startup company. We actually kind of formed about a year ago with the focus on really kind of helping solve some of the problems of national welfare with regard to the things we saw during the pandemic, where certain items, in particular PPE items, were difficult to come by and kind of we saw the crisis of everything being offshored. And now we saw the opportunity to not only have a good thriving business, but also help the national welfare. And the PPE item that kind of stood out to us that made sense was disposable nitrile gloves, which are commonly used in many different industries and many applications. Most commonly, you'll see them in a medical setting to be able to prevent cross-contamination between patients and to protect those healthcare workers. And so we saw that opportunity, created the business. We're investing heavily. It's over $140 million of total investment in our facility that we're setting up here in Grove City, Ohio. And we are very close now to launching operations. And so we're starting to kick off our recruiting efforts to support those operations.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And I think the thing that I love about what you guys are doing as a mission is I go back to March 16th of 2020 when Ohio had the stay-at-home order hit, and we were all just trying to figure out what COVID and the pandemic meant for us in our day-to-day lives. And you're right, we had like the toilet paper shortages, the mask shortages, the glove shortages, and everything. And it's so inspirational to see that you guys have taken something that at one point was a major pain point for all of us, and you figured out how to bring manufacturing back home and make an impact not only in the community but on the country as well.
Right. And this is really the Grove City facility is kind of our proof of concept facility. I mean, it is a large facility, over 500,000 square feet. And we'll be producing at full production capacity, pretty close to 4 billion gloves a year. But when you look at the usage just in the US, not even worldwide, just the US of nitrile gloves is between 130 and 140 billion projected for next year. 140 billion gloves, and we're only going to make 4 billion. So as big as that number sounds, it's still a drop in the bucket, less than 2% of total US consumption. And so this is just the start for us. To be able to really help the country, we recognize we need to, not only help this industry grow, but grow ourselves. And we'd like to be at somewhere around the 20% of US consumption. We'd like to be able to supply that. We think we can make a difference for the country at 20% or above. At 2%, we don't even supply enough gloves to meet the needs of Ohio.
Right. Wow. It's really sobering when you start talking about those numbers, isn't it? Because when you first said 4 billion, I'm like, that's huge. That's like a number that most of us have a hard time sometimes fathoming. But when you start putting those percentages in, it definitely explains why you said that you're a proof of concept now, but knowing there's a lot of room for growth. One thing before we go further, though, for those of you that are watching us right now, just remember you can always put any type of questions you have in the chat because we are on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and those questions we'll be sure to answer as we run through the discussion. So, Kurt, I think that was a great background of kind of the organization and how this concept came about. Let's talk a little about the culture of the company because I know it is locally owned and started here. So let's kind of talk about that portion of the business now.
Right. So even though we have aspirations to, grow aggressively, uh, and I've been around the manufacturing industry, both here in the US and internationally for the past 34 years. I've always wanted the opportunity to not go in and try to change a culture, but to build a culture from scratch. And this has been my opportunity. And we're going to take advantage of every opportunity we have to build that really great culture. So, as part of that, um, we want to be extremely responsive. We want to kind of retain that entrepreneurial and ownership drive with everyone we hire. We want people to kind of feel like they're owners and have a say, and that their ideas matter within the company. The other thing we look for is people that are passionate, that they're passionate about making a difference, passionate about what they do, passionate about helping the company succeed. Third, we want accountability, people that, they're going to follow through on what they said they were going to do and really kind of drive accountability, but then also support and reward that accountability. And then, like I said, the last piece is really being people centric and rewarding and recognizing people for their contributions. And like I said, being a smaller startup, those early people on the team are going to be very visible and their contributions will be easily recognized. And we want to leverage that and be able to promote people from within wherever chance we have.
Yeah, I think that is something that being a part of a startup and this initial wave of production that you guys have, it brings up an excellent point. As you expand with that aspiration of hitting 20% of the consumption in production for the U.S. market, you're obviously going to have a lot of expansion. And you're right, with expansion comes growth opportunities within career. One of the things that we talk about here at the Job Center, and I'm sure you guys have experienced some of this as well, is that Columbus isn't always known as a manufacturing community, yet we have a lot of amazing manufacturing facilities that are starting now. And I think you guys are a prime example of that. So, let's talk a little about that idea of professional development and what type of growth and what type of positions someone might be able to move into once they join the company. So I think that's really important for people to understand manufacturing as a whole.
Right. And I mean, we're going to have the full range of positions. We'll have actually a fairly decent number of, I'll call it, unskilled basic production positions. And then we'll have a range of skilled positions, whether that be quality technicians, compounding technicians, maintenance technicians, because our process is a continuous process. It runs all the time, lots of mechanical, electrical systems, and chemical type systems that are involved in our process. So there is that higher technical level within the manufacturing and support ranks that is going to be critical to our success going forward. And then you go beyond that, then we get into engineering and professionals that'll be able to help from an automation standpoint, help from a chemical production process standpoint, process management. We'll still ship and receive products. So we'll still have some warehouse functions within the facility, materials management, accounting opportunities, sales and marketing opportunities. It just kind of goes endless. If you're good with people, customer service type opportunities. So once we get going and once we start scaling, there's going to be just a range of opportunities beyond what I'll call production floor opportunities for a range from management positions all the way down through unskilled production workers.
Yeah. Which sounds like it's a great opportunity for someone who maybe has never worked in manufacturing but is looking for that great, permanent full-time position, paying a great wage, and we'll talk about benefits and everything here in a minute. But it's a chance to get in, and once you're in, I always like to say you don't know what you don't know, which sounds pretty simple, but we think we know about what manufacturing is. We're not really sure, but then once you're in, you can understand all the aspects, and I'm sure that you guys as a leadership team, you'll help figure out how to connect those dots for your employees when they see something that interests them, where they might want to have that upward mobility in maybe one particular line of work that you guys are doing.
Right. And we'll also always have those internal postings for any kind of roles we're looking to fill as we're growing, and identify people that obviously are in the door and are helping us, and see what opportunities. So, like I said, even if there is just a production opportunity to get in the door, there's going to be other things down the road. And you brought up a good point. One of the key things we are focused on is we do have a 24/7, 365 operation to support. So we have a scheduling system where people are working 10 or 12-hour shifts, but we've also created a part-time evening shift with the goal of attracting people that may not be participating in the workforce today, that would like to get in but don't want a 40, 50-hour a week 9 to 5 job. They're looking for something where they can make a little money, make a contribution. We are going to be offering that kind of an opportunity for a 5 to 9 p.m., 9:15 p.m. part-time shift that may hopefully we can attract some people maybe that retired early with the pandemic and are tired or sitting at home and would like to get out and do some things, want to make a contribution, or housewives that have been at home with the kids and now maybe want to get out and contribute a little bit and do something for the family and help the family by working some evenings 3 or 4 days a week. So we're doing some really creative things to try and pull people into that have been sitting on the sidelines from a standpoint of the workforce and get them interested to come and participate with us. And of course, we want to pull from, the geographic region, Southwest Columbus area, if we can, because gas is expensive these days. And if you're driving 35 minutes to work and you could drive 3 minutes to work, this is a big advantage for you to be here and take advantage of this culture and have a short drive and not spend so much on gas. So,
yeah, definitely. And I think that is a perfect segue into the conversation around like benefits, because we all think, and we'll talk about the basic benefits in a little bit, but that flexibility in schedule is also a benefit, because it will help you attract that talent, like you said, that may not be able to work a shift otherwise. If you place everybody in an 8 to 5 or a 10 to 7 or whatever it is, you limit yourself. So that is awesome that you guys have recognized that opportunity, for sure. So outside of that scheduling flexibility and that idea of having some of those part-time positions available as well, let's talk about the basic benefits that you guys offer for like your production techs, that type of thing.
sure. So we offer a full range, obviously, of we think that are above average from a competitive standpoint as far as medical and dental and vision benefits. We also offer pretty aggressive scale as far as accruing vacation. One unique thing we do is that you get a day off on your birthday month. Just for your birthday. We want to celebrate those birthdays and recognize that you can't be off on the day we're going to recognize your birthday at work. But yeah, the idea is you get a special day, and we want you to be able to take advantage of that. Some other unique benefits. with our payroll. So we pay bi-weekly, but with our particular payroll system, employees will have early access to up to half of their pay that's been earned early before the pay period, that they can access up to $500, which is a unique benefit. So say something happens and it's still 5-6 more days till payday, but I need some extra cash right now. We have way that with our current payroll system that you can access that money ahead of time. That's a unique benefit. We think that'll be really attractive to a lot of people, just to have that early access. We want to take the whole check cashing guys out of the loop.
Well,
Early
and
check cashing.
that's really that same flexibility you're talking about with schedule. Understanding that life happens and giving your employees a way to just respond where it doesn't cause extra burden. So that
Right.
is absolutely amazing.
And like I said, we do want to recognize, work-life balance, and part of our schedules, do require to work a weekend on, and you may have a 4-day work week that includes the weekend, but the next weekend you get 4 days off. And so that's a kind of a unique schedule. So we recognize you may have to work 26 weekends a year, but you're going to get 26 4-day weekends also. So there's a benefit, we want to be able to give back where people can enjoy those weekends when they're not having to support us cover weekends.
Definitely. I've thrown up the URL for your careers page right now. So for anybody who's interested in understanding about the benefits and everything at American Nitrile, you can visit the website listed. It's always great to hear us talk about it, but we never get everything that's on that list covered. So it's always great to provide that resource for people to explore on their own.
Right. And we kind of pride ourselves too on one of the cultural things we want to do is provide good, effective training. And we're partnered with a training group to help develop, video training. It's so many things you can go on YouTube these days, and people learn how to do things just by watching a 2-minute video on YouTube. And we want to have, not only do we want to train our people so that they behave safely and we create a safe work environment, but we really want to have training materials available that people can access very easily in their work environment, to just refresh. Oh, that's how I do that. And we're going to have, the latest state-of-the-art access to video training materials and create those up front. So we're making an effort to do that as part of the benefits for employees. So it's a good work environment. People know what they need to do as part of their job.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely amazing. So as I mentioned, we have the URL up for anybody who wants to explore the career opportunities from that side. And we'll talk about your openings that you currently have here in a second. But let's talk about the application and hiring process first, because I know that's something that is important to a lot of individuals to really understand. From the moment I decide I want to apply and explore the career opportunity, what will someone experience as they move through towards that opportunity to receive an offer and start employment with you guys?
Sure. So we tend to move pretty quickly when we have the position open and available. We do, for most positions so far, we've done 2 rounds of interviews. The first interview may be just with a single person, the actual hiring manager or supervisor. And then the second will be a combination of peer group and other support people. So a group interview. And then based on those results, then we're making our decisions on who we want to extend offers to. And so we've just recently, in a few positions we've filled, we went from first seeing the person's resume to having an offer in their hand in under 10 days.
That's phenomenal.
And so that's kind of our goal, as long as we have immediate needs. Now, some things we're actually trying to generate a pool of people, because we're in this startup mode of operations now, and we don't know. There's some variability that could come in our equipment qualification and testing that may say, okay, we're not going to start, this crew, we're not going to start up a night shift for another 2 weeks. So, but in general, we want to now start building that pool of people that we can start bringing in and identifying to come in and start up the operation. And then we'll have another pool behind those that we'll bring in as we expand the shifts and expand the coverage of our first operating lines.
Yeah, that's
and it'll be a constant ramp up between now and through February of next year. Because our plan right now, we're at 31 total headcount. We plan to be at 350 by the end of next year. So we've got a pretty steady ramp of hiring that we'll be doing through the end of this year and through next year.
Yeah, it's pretty steady and pretty aggressive, which is always great. So we definitely know that there are tons of opportunities with American Nitrile right now. So one thing within the application process that we always like to talk about is drug screen and background check as well. Where does that fall into play, and exactly, how do you guys view both of those items?
Yeah, so we are regulated by the Department of Homeland Security because of a few chemicals we use in processing, making gloves. And as part of that, we are required to do background checks and drug screens as being a regulated entity. So that is something that is required. So, yeah.
And do you guys do that pre-offer, or do you do a contingent offer and then do the screenings?
Usually it's if we identify after we made an offer, it's a contingent offer and based on fulfilling those. So we're not going to do that pre-offer. We're going to send you to do that work after we've identified we'd like to hire you.
Awesome. That is perfect. So, we've talked about a great culture that you guys are building at American Nitrile. We've talked about a lot of great benefits and hinted around about some of the positions and the hiring process. But now I think we're really at that point where we're probably ready to talk about exactly who you're trying to recruit right now. And you and I had this conversation yesterday. Also, who are you trying to recruit within the next month or two? Because, we realize that for those that are viewing, we have a couple of different opportunities. Some folks are looking for immediate employment. We definitely want to try to figure out what that looks like with your organization. But then more importantly, they may be ready for a change or just looking for a better job. And so we want to be able to highlight those opportunities as well. So why don't you run through the list of what you guys are really targeting right now?
Sure. So I have 2 immediate openings that I'm trying to fill. These would be, I would call them lead/supervisor level type positions, people that would be involved in then hiring others and evaluating others to come on to the team. So we're looking for a higher skill set and experience with people. That first position is a compounding supervisor. So compounding is the area where you're mixing all the ingredients. This is the mix the recipe side of our process. So you mix all the ingredients to produce a glove and all the support processes in making a glove. All that mixing gets done and then gets fed to the line and gets consumed. And it's kind of the heart, I'll say, or the digestive system of our production process. And so you got to put the right ingredients in to get the right output. And so this is critical. So we're looking for somebody with experience in compounding, in recipes, and leading teams and developing processes, and hopefully even some automation and some ERP implementation within their experience base would be great to come in and basically help us hire and set up our compounding area.
Right.
So that's the immediate position we have right now. The other positions that we're actively recruiting for is our line operation leads. So this is somebody that has obviously there's nobody in the country that's ever operated a glove production line before.
Right.
So there's nothing directly like this. But if you've had experience running high speed processing equipment, continuous process equipment, let's say like at a bottling plant or some other kind of high-speed continuous process where there's lots of mechanical and thermal and chemical things going on in the process, and you're able to understand and grasp those and then evaluate parameters and adjust the parameters. We're looking for those people to be able to come in and be able to operate our initial lines. We'll train we want to get them in early, so we start training them as we're going through the testing phases. So that's why we're looking to hire that position immediately. And those would be for all 4 of our shifts that we're going to put in place. So there would be 4 positions available across our 4 shifts for that position. And then that kind of position could grow into a shift supervisor. That's kind of our vision down the road too. If you're good with people and able to manage a crew of 30 or 40 people, the line lead's going to kind of own the team that's supporting the line, which may be 5, 6 people. But if you're good at that, then you can expand out to maybe take on the full shift at some point. So that's kind of our vision. And then there's a large group of people that, I would say another 20 to 30 that we'd like to start generating pool for is our, I just want to make sure I get the name right here. It's our finishing operator position. And the finishing operator position is going to be a rotational. It's kind of our entry level position, but we want that position to learn 3 different tasks. And so if you come in and qualify on all 3 tasks, then there's a bump up in pay, so that becomes a rotating position throughout the day. Then you do 3 basic tasks, fairly simple, not terribly taxing. We don't have anything really that's that heavy to handle, but there is going to be a lot of it's packaging or prepping packaging for the people doing packaging or doing product testing on semi-automated testing devices. So it's going to be it's a good role, but it's something that you could learn in an hour or 2 of practice and be able to come up to speed. And it's not overly taxing. You'll be able to, at part of that job, be able to, sit down for part of it throughout the day. So it becomes a nice entry-level position if you're just looking for a way to come into the workforce and participate and learn what's going on in the company. This is a great way in, is our finishing operator role.
Yeah, and one thing that you mentioned that you don't hear a lot in manufacturing is that part of the work is seated.
Right.
Normally when we think of it, it's all standing type positions. So I think that's awesome. And I appreciate how you kind of laid out the positions in a way where we can understand some of those growth opportunities we were talking about earlier. From the finishing operator positions on up, there's obviously a lot of opportunity for some lateral and upward movement for anyone who's interested.
Right. There's one underlying message. Once you're in the door, the opportunities are only limited by you. That's what I tell everyone to get in the door, that your opportunities for growth, your opportunities for learning are only limited by you.
Yep.
We're not going to limit those for you.
That is wonderful. So again, I have the URL up on the screen right now for anybody who's interested in exploring the career opportunities that Kurt mentioned. But one of the other things, and we've kind of built up to this, we actually have an opportunity for you to interact with the team from American Nitrile at our job center. And so those of you that are familiar know that we have an employer on site every Thursday, and this Thursday at 11 o'clock, the team from American Nitrile will be here at the job center at 1111 East Broad Street, just east of downtown Columbus, to provide more information on the company, on the open positions and help people start the application process to be able to apply for these jobs. So if you're interested in attending the Thursday with an employer featuring American Nitrile this week, you can visit omjcfc.org/Thursday, or you can always call us at 614-559-5052, and we can help you reserve a slot within that session. Kurt, thank you so much for all the great information today. I think it's extremely exciting to hear about a startup company that has Columbus roots, that's going to really make a difference in Columbus, being located down there in Grove City. Do you have any other parting words for anybody that's watching right now?
Well, as much as you plugged this event on Thursday, I also want to let your listeners know that we're also planning to hold a career fair at our facility on September. I got to make sure I get my dates right here. That we're going to have this be in September 22nd and 24th.
Awesome.
So it'll be a Thursday night and a Saturday where we'll allow people to come in. So watch for notices on that to come in, like I said, meet the team, maybe even see the position, see some of the facility, and see what we'll be doing here. So that's a great opportunity too for people that are really interested in joining the team to participate in those career fairs.
And to really understand kind of what the equipment and the production process looks like, so you have an idea of where you might be working. So
exactly,
great opportunities there, whether you connect with us this Thursday here at the Job Center or that event towards the end of September, that we'll try and also help you guys promote as we get near, so that everybody has a great awareness. Well, Kurt, we want to say thank you for your time today and all the great information around American Nitrile. And for those of you out there that are watching right now, just remember that the team will be here at the Job Center this Thursday at 11 a.m. for our Thursday with an employer. And you can register for that at omjcfc.org/Thursday, or you can call us at 614-559-5052. Yeah, my name is Scott Johnson. I'm the Job Center operator. Kurt, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it. Everybody have a great Tuesday. Thank you.
Great.